The Total War Warhammer series of games is an adaptation of the Warhammer Fantasy Battles universe created by Games Workshop. The games themselves were released to critical acclaim by both PC gamers and Warhammer Fantasy fans alike. The Warhammer Fantasy world is full of rich lore, but for many, this series of games is their first exposure to this fantastic world. It may be knowledge to some, but for others, it is important to note that Creative Assembly's amazing games are not 100% carbon copies of the universe that tabletop fans have come to know and love. And for that, I have created this list. Top 5 differences between Total War Warhammer and Warhammer Fantasy Battles, Part 2. Number 1. First and most importantly to me is the alliance system. In-game, if you could manage to get your diplomatic favour high enough, you could form unlikely alliances. I myself have cheesed the game at some point or another, and have had my vampire counts ally with the Dawi of Karazakarak, in hopes of securing some safety in my rear while I devastated the lands of the Empire, the ancient allies of the Dawi. Lore-wise, of course, this would never happen, barring the strange occurrences in the end times, of course. The dwarves hate the undead, almost as much as they hate the greenskins. Such a thing would never happen. Moving on to number 2, we look towards the many spellcasters of both universes. In the Total War Warhammer series, your spellcasters will eventually level as you perform tasks with them, such as quests, attacking a city, and so on. As they level, they will be given skill points, to which they can spend on various skills, including spells they may have available to them. This means your very basic wizard could eventually grow powerful enough to be a lore master of his or her chosen lore. In the tabletop, however, there are limitations on how many spells your character may have, and here are some examples. A Skaven Warlock Engineer can be upgraded to a total of level 2, meaning that the most he can have are 2 spells, whereas a Skaven Gracier is baseline level 4, meaning he may have 4 spells. There are of course some exceptions, where your spellcaster may have more spells available to him or her, but those are quite rare. Fresh on to number 3, certain factions like the Warriors of Chaos are considered horde factions in-game, meaning that they cannot settle in any cities, build fortresses, or so on. Instead, they rely on moving encampments that follow along with their armies. In the Fantasy Battles universe, it is known that many Chaos Champions have taken residence inside of cities, usually far in the north, but they do indeed hold cities. Quickly moving on to number 4, we look towards Norske. In-game, we know them as the Marauders from the north, the Chariot Armies of Doom, and the Keepers of Monsters. In the Fantasy Battles universe, they did not have their own official army book, and very little of the army list, which did exist, was formed into the Warriors of Chaos book, Wulfric and Frog included. Lastly, number 5 is perhaps the most interesting, and this is the use of named legendary lords. While in the game series, legendary lords seem to be the best option due to their usual stronger buffs and abilities, they were considered overcosted in the tabletop, with named lords and heroes being extremely expensive and very situational at best when playing games. It was more common that players would normally field unnamed lords and heroes and basically kit them out with magical weapons and items themselves. In most cases, players would argue that they could create something akin to the named lord, or even better. Is there anything I missed? Let me know in the comments below. There are a number of things that vary in both the PC game and the tabletop universe, and seeing as you guys really liked the first part, I figured I'd do the second. And there's still a lot more I can actually cover. But until then, my friends, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you all again very, very soon.